Como ya les habíamos comentado, a partir de ahora nuestro compromiso es que el seminario sea en inglés, por lo tanto me voy a permitir cambiar de idioma. So this session is with Professor Manuel Becerra. He's one of the senior researchers that is with us in this conference. He's the director of the Mexican Yearbook of the International Law since 1985. He's a full-time researcher, now Type C at the Institute for Legal Research, the Autonomous University of Mexico. He's researching lines in public international law, intellectual property, and also biotechnology. Manuel Becerra obtained a bachelor degree in law by the Faculty of Law of this same university, and he got his PhD degree in philosophy and international law by the State University of Moscow. Since the year 2000, he has taught public international law 1 and 2 at the Faculty of Law, and in the Academy of Diplomatic Studies, Matias Romero. In terms of intellectual property, he has taught industrial and intellectual property, the subject in the Faculty of Law, and in the Master of Law in the University Ibero-American since 1997. So without any further ado, I give you the word.
Thank you very much. My presentation will be a little bit short. I want to focus just in 3 topics. First of all, the question of industrialization, the third and fourth industry revolution. And the second focus will be what happened with the new standard of intellectual property, which are the contents of intellectual property related to development. And the third one will be what happened in Mexico. It will be my proposal in order to have to get the goals that intellectual property had at the beginning of the new standards of intellectual property. So, we recall that the TRIPS agreement established one of the fundamental premises, the technological development and transfer of technology to the countries that adopted them. However, after more than 20 years of its entry into force, we can see that TRIPS Plus treaties have hardened the condition of protection, but there has been little or no technological development in underdeveloped countries such as Mexico. We can. The question to be resolved is what happened to the impact of changing a standard of the protection of intellectual property and the technological development of underdeveloped countries. What happened with the third technological revolution and cognitive capitalism? The contemporary international economy is dominated by what has been called the third and fourth technological revolution, characterized by an impressive development of communication, technologies, computing, and biotechnology, and other important areas such as energy, chemistry, nanotechnology, robotics, and so on, where knowledge is the main object of intellectual trade and development. This contemporary phenomenon has been called knowledge economy or cognitive capitalism. Thus, in the context of the current technological revolution, there is a thought of a new international division of labor, where the development of an economy based on the diffusion of knowledge, and in which knowledge production becomes the main bet of the valuation of capital. In this system of cognitive capitalism, there is an important production of developed countries in areas such as music, cinematography, and everything related to the entertainment industry, as well in soft and hardware, which are the detonators of the revolution of communication and computing, producing development that is immeasurable in many areas of human activity. This, together with such a transcendental revolution in biotechnology. All this is protected through the old institution of intellectual property, expanded and adapted to the new circumstances. What happened with this? Okay. Thus, within the framework of technological revolution, knowledge has been the object of trade. Precisely the one who is the owner of knowledge gives the guidelines to drive development. In this way, highly developed countries base their economy on technology protected by intellectual property. For example, if you look at the value in the market for the United States of copyright protected technologies, for example, fundamentally all computer technologies such as software and databases, or entertainment technologies, movies and music, we will see that it's very significant figure for the economy of any country. For example, more than 930 billions is the value of all this economy in the United States in the 2010. It means that it's a huge amount of money sourced by this kind of technology. It's therefore understandable for knowledge-producing countries to promote new intellectual property, IP structure toward an increasingly strict legal framework, which is new global standard in intellectual property rights, to be applied in consuming countries of its technological products. When we say knowledge-producing countries, it doesn't mean that the only developed countries produce knowledge, but also, as I said before, underdeveloped countries that have a strong traditional culture, for example, medicine, folklore, music, food, handicrafts, which is actually as a very valuable folk art, are source of knowledge. With the big difference that this knowledge is not subject of protection of the free trade treaties where the new parameters of intellectual property is found. Moreover, the protection has enormous imbalances, because while the software is protected by copyright as a literary work, which implies disproportionate protection, why I say disproportionate protection? Because the author is protected through the author's entire life and at least 50 years after his death. The traditional medicine, for example, is not protected and is a subject of piracy by pharmaceutical companies that have bioprospecting capability. Thus, regardless of the features we have already mentioned in other papers on the new IP rights standard, this is the core of a new global economy order, where the concept of property acquires a new dimension because it refers to the intangible that produce technology. These new standards bring the obligation to conform to them the international legislation of the state, not only of the developed countries, but also of the underdeveloped ones, and somehow developing countries are forced to automatically assume the accelerated pace of technological development from the developed countries and consequently to grant protection to emerging new technologies when they are quite distant from approaching traditional innovation. But my question here is, what does TRIPS say about intellectual property and development? Both the North American Free Trade Agreement, Chapter 17, and TRIPS constitute a comprehensive system of intellectual property protection with norms not only substantive but also adjective. For example, TRIPS says at the beginning of the treaty, I'm quoting, recognizing also the special needs of the least developed countries, member in respect of maximum flexibility in the domestic implementation of laws and regulation in order to enable them to create a sound and viable technological base. Quite recognizing the need for some flexibility. In fact, the creation of parameters is undeniable, which doesn't allow for appropriate legislation that is adequate to the needs of internal development. We know, as in the Mexican case, that there is even a requirement in the commercial policy to adapt domestic legislation to international parameters. It's simply necessary to see that before the signing of NAFTA, our country had to modify its legislation to still no obligatory new standards in the protection of intellectual property. And also, if we see, for example, Article 7 of the TRIPS objective is established, Article 7, I quote, "The protection and enforcement of intellectual property rights should contribute to the promotion of technological innovation and to the transfer and dissemination of technology, to the mutual advantage of producers and users of technological knowledge, and in a manner conducive to social and economic welfare and to a balance of rights and obligation." I finish the quotation. This provision is very interesting because the protection and enforcement of intellectual rights are not an objective in terms held by TRIPS, but should contribute to the promotion of technological innovation and its transfer. For whom? Neither more or less than producers, but not only producers, and also the user, and thus in favor on social and economic welfare. This, in principle, sounds very good and is commendable. But what are the mechanisms to bring it for in affection? The treaty contains a whole legal structure of substantive and adjective rules, such an intellectual property code, but does not contain any provision that tells us how to make the treaty operation this objective. They are mere forward-looking statements that go no further. We can saw also in Article 8.1, I quote, members may, in formulating or amending these laws and regulations, adopt measures necessary to protect public health and nutrition, and to promote the public interest in sectors of vital importance to their socioeconomic and technological development, provide that such measures are consistent with the provision of this agreement. I finish the quotation. We can see in this article of the TRIPS agreement, two concepts are key. One refers to certain freedom of countries that receive the intellectual property standard to prevent the abuse of intellectual property rights by their holders or the use of practices that limit unjustifiable trade or detrimental to the international transfer of technology. Finish. And the second is that freedom has limits. Which are the limits? The TRIPS itself. The point is that this provision is not used by underdeveloped countries like Mexico. But my question is, what is the result of more than 20 years of new intellectual parameters? We can see one table here. This one and the second, this table. Judging by the data available with the new intellectual parameters, the expected technological development has not been achieved. We can see, for example, in the case of Mexico, this is in the 11th place, and we can see that this pink line it shows the patent grants to the national. It means that after 20 years we have not gotten the development that which expected at the beginning of the new parameters. My point of view, I will tell you what I think about. I propose a general policy of innovation through intellectual property. This proposal has two phases. In principle, the inner phase, as we have seen, technological development doesn't depend on the mere adaptation of intellectual IP standards, but more importantly, the configuration of an internal policy in which a number of factors are taken into account. It's really enough to industrialize the country. It's not enough the new norms. It's necessary, this is my point, to create and establish a state policy in the fields of intellectual property that will be formed by a series of elements such as an axis. You see, disappear. The technology is not working. So this is an axis formed by the key institution agency promoting science and technology and innovation. Health agencies, the judicial system, research and education institute, and a proper tax and legal system. And talking about the international field, the negotiation of new type of treaties where there is a cooperation in dissemination and patent knowledge and intellectual property. Intellectual property, this is my meaning, should contain technology transfer agreement or schemes such as, for example, Regional Technology Transfer Institute. That way to visualize the intellectual property norms not only as an element of administration, but a factor of transfer of technology. In this scheme, in this table, we can see, for example, the classic triangle. The classic triangle. In one part is the government, and another the private sector, and another the sector in research and investigation. This is the classical triangle. But also around, there is which we need to enforce. For example, question of education. I remember that our government at the beginning of 5 years ago said that it is going to give 200 of the IP, how do you say, the Producto Nacional Bruto to the research. But what's happened now? Now the government is giving just 0.36 and 40 of the national product. We need more investment in development, and also question of the tax system, which can produce a detonator of the development for the enterprises, Mexican enterprises. So the question of education is very important also. This is a big problem because the question of, for example, copyright. We have an amount piracy, because also the people doesn't understand that it's important for the development, because don't see the development. They don't give enough jobs, employment for the people. The question of judicial system. Our judicial system is very, very difficult also. But the more important thing for me should be the question of research and the private sector. There are no links between university and the private sector. Sometimes people from the enterprises, Mexican enterprises, say it's very difficult to get some project in our institutions. I mean, in the universities, because it's difficult. They don't understand, and there is a bureaucracy, how we used to say. So, in general terms, we need a general policy and a state policy for promoting intellectual property, of course, but also the new technologies. It's very easy to draw these ideas. The difficulty is to really put in fact all these topics. So this is my general question on promotion intellectual property as a factor of development, not just administration, but also a little bit more. Thank you very much, and I think it's open to the debate or question, maybe.
Well, thank you very much for your talk. You raised up some very interesting points. I think you're right. Like one thing is to say in the agreement that this system of IP protection should is recognizing the disadvantage of certain countries, and that they are supposed to help to develop technology transfer. One thing is just to put that in an agreement, and the other thing is to get to the actual facts and see how are we going to do this. No, they were supposed to be substantive rules that will help with the transfer of technology and the development of less developed countries or emergency economies. However, this is not something that we are seeing in the facts, no, from the table that you gave us. Mexico has been part of NAFTA for more than 20 years, and it didn't help to promote technology at all, even though it was one of the specific objectives of this treaty. So It is also true, I think, and important what you mentioned about the patents. Having a patent do not amount to immediate technology development, no? We know that in our country, there are probably about a lot of patents are being registered. Not all of them are originally from Mexico, but they are from researchers or inventors from abroad. And the fact that the Institute of Intellectual Property is getting the protection of the patents, that does not amount that Mexico is a country that is very developed in technology. So also in that regards, I think it was very interesting the last triangle that you mentioned, because it's not only, like you said, the government, the private industry, and the universities, the ones that are working, but there are a lot of things in between that either help or become a boundary to the process of innovation. I think it's very important, for instance, this point that you raised about education is not only, and especially in our country, it's not only about education in IP for students that are studying law or for students that are studying science and they want to protect something, but it's more about education in society. I don't know if you would agree with this. The fact that the society is aware that knowledge can be protected and the protection of this knowledge can be exploited for a benefit, I think is part of the problems of our country. And yeah, so in regards to this, you mentioned that you were suggesting that there should be a new global policy. How do you think Mexico should participate, or what Mexico has to do to encourage this new global policy?
This new global policy is starting with the negotiation of all different kind of treaties related to intellectual property. For example, now the NAFTA and TRIPS agreement just besides he's talking about development, the development of the internal industry, indeed, the question is that just is protecting the foreign technology, but is not focused to develop the native technology. The new, this is as a specialist in international law, the new treaty should have also some question on transfer of technology, for example. The creation, for example, also is very important. I was talking with some people in the United States that the creation, for example, an intellectual property office in the region, not just in the United States and Mexico, but in the region. I'm talking also about South America, the creation of big intellectual property, which is focused in transfer of technology. In this table, for example, we can see that Canada is we can say this developed country, but the creation of the innovation is few just. But the question, I have been in the Canadian intellectual property, the question is I have seen that there is a network of transfer of technology. This is one question that this is absent in the Mexican politic. For example, the creation of networks of technology, the dissemination of technology is very important. We can have these figures. For example, a lot of patents in Mexico from foreign enterprises. But it should be if we can create a dissemination system of this technology. This is the key question for me in the internal point of view. And another the creation, in the international law, the creation of, for example, I'm thinking about the creation institute or research on technology, which is not available for Mexico because it needs a lot of money. For example, the question of energy. Investing in the new technology of energy are very expensive. We need a lot of money. But if we create a group of countries which are investing, are researching in this area, with from the resources of these different countries, should be very, very important. No one country can research with this amount of money that needs the new technologies, or create some question that we can say this niche of development. For example, Mexico is is a big country which has a lot of cultural development. I mean, music, for example. We can focus just in the question that we know that we can develop, no more. Music, for example, all the question of culture in general terms. But my question that I put on the table is that this kind of knowledge sometimes is not protected by intellectual property. That's why in internal policy, Mexico government should also protect this kind of knowledge. All this, for example, traditional knowledge. Talking about, for example, medicine, and so on. Mm-hmm.
Muchas gracias. I wanted to ask you two questions. You mentioned as part of an enriched overall strategy for Mexico and for Latin America, that one criticism you made of the current situation in Mexico is that the judicial system is not responsive enough. Can you give us a bit more detail about what the issues are? I mean, for example, is it too costly for IP owners to take a case, or are the courts too slow? What is the issue at the moment with the judicial system that you think could be improved? And the second one then is, there's been a lot of talk in the European Union recently about the importance of trade secrets in comparison with patents. And obviously the benefit of a trade secret is that you don't have to pay the application fee and all of that. So I was wondering whether for companies in Mexico that are innovating, whether trade secrets is something that they use frequently or not. Thank you.
The first question about the judicial system. It seems to me that the judicial system is more focusing in criminal law. Why criminal law? Is because it's easy to take people put in the jail. But my meaning is that it's not. Why not civil resources? We have criminal, civil, and administrative resources. But it's very difficult, for example, if you go to the civil system, to the judicial system, you take, I don't know, maybe 3 or 9 years, because it's very difficult. And why? arises the question, why criminal law? Because it's easier to put into jail the people. But in the intellectual property, it's no question of putting to jail the contrary. Besides this, we need to do negotiation. No put in the jail. Negotiate what because there are creators. Okay, we can see, for example, in the subway in Mexico City, there are a lot of people selling piracy, but they at the same time they are creatives because they know what happened now, what the society needs now, and they do. Why not the formal enterprises do the same? This is one question. The question of trade secret, it depends of education, because everything think, for example, in Mexico about patents. It's good to think in patents, but I told you that it's very difficult to invest in new technology. So where are the strongest of the country? Maybe not the patents, the invention, but also the old kind of another kind of creation. For example, I know that in England you have petty patents. I don't know what happened with modelos de utilidad. It's in Mexico, the petty patents. Maybe this should be our goal, to go to the petty patents, or maybe the copyright. This is question of, this is my point, it's question of general policy on intellectual property. Taking the intellectual property as a factor of development. This is a big question. I see the general plans of the government, and each new government is saying our focus will be, for example, in another time, we're talking about software. Maybe software is very important for Mexico. Because we have the language and the knowledge of the culture. It was the proposal of one government, but at the end it started to buy the software from abroad instead of creating. This is the question. It's lacking a general policy of development.
Any other questions? Okay. If not, we take a break.
¿Ya llegó el director? Bueno, okay.
Okay, so now we take a break and we resume at 10:30. Any more?
Maybe, si hay alguna pregunta en español,
He can take.
todavía tenemos un poco de tiempo.
Sí. Natalia.
Buenos días. Pues muchas gracias por su ponencia del doctor Becerra. También me hace mucho ruido y hay una preocupación, creo que en toda la comunidad, sobre la falta de inversión económica por parte de las políticas del gobierno para el desarrollo tecnológico y la falta de apoyo a esta innovación, ¿no? Estoy de acuerdo en lo que usted ha expresado, que en México, pues si comparamos las políticas, por ejemplo, de Europa, de Inglaterra, pues ahí encontraríamos la respuesta, ¿no? O sea, ahí hay más protección, y por supuesto que hay más canalización de presupuesto económico para el desarrollo tecnológico y para el apoyo a la investigación. O sea, ¿por qué tenemos que estar nosotros como país importando, como bien lo dice usted, tecnología como software, o si aquí lo podemos crear, o inclusive en algún momento se habló hasta de traer ingenieros petroquímicos para el desarrollo y la explotación de los hidrocarburos en México, cuando aquí se puede hacer. Entonces aquí uno de los grandes problemas, primero como mi opinión, es la falta de inversión por parte de las políticas económicas de nuestro país. El dinero es importante, pero mi pregunta específica es, esa política interna que usted llamaba, una nueva a New Policy of Innovation, esta nueva política de innovación, ¿cómo se podría aterrizar sin este apoyo económico de parte de nuestro gobierno? ¿Ese sería usted? ¿Cómo cree que se podría obligar o invitar a nuestros gobiernos a que realmente canalizaran el presupuesto que se necesita? Porque esto es dinero para poder desarrollar la tecnología y dar apoyo a nuestros innovadores, a nuestros científicos, hasta nuestra gente. Hablaba usted de los músicos, grandes músicos de ahí en nuestro país. Se necesita realmente una preocupación del gobierno, pero una preocupación en términos reales, es decir, que apoyen económicamente. Entonces, ¿usted cómo cree que se podría aterrizar esta nueva política que usted bien vislumbra, pero si no existe un apoyo económico? Esa sería la pregunta.
Perdón.
So he's asking about how there's this big problem of investment from the government side into the innovation projects, and he believes now that Mexico is a very creative country. We have a lot of creators, but that maybe one of the problems is that the government is not investing enough of the resources into research and innovation and giving it so much more, like more encourage. So he's asking, how can we sort of convince or ask the government to include in their budget this policy of innovation? Yeah.
Bueno, ahí es, usted lo pone difícil porque cada gobierno, en lo que se refiere a su política científica, y este gobierno lo hizo, dijo que iba a invertir el 1% del Producto Nacional Bruto. Si ustedes ven las cifras en este momento, no llegan a eso. Yo creo que, bueno, ahí es una cuestión de presión del mundo científico, es decir, ¿qué pasa con eso? Allí algo está fallando, porque en el esquema que lo veremos después en otra ponencia con, creo, la doctora, la maestra Arteaga, si ustedes ven en el esquema mexicano está el CONACYT y después está el Foro Científico y Tecnológico, que es un cuerpo de asesores directo al presidente de la República. Eso no logra que eso se lleve a la práctica, ¿no? Esa es una cuestión. Y otra es que en este esquema necesita también una reacción del aparato productivo. Las empresas se deben de dar cuenta en que hay que invertir en ciencia y tecnología como elemento de competencia inclusive. Alguien me decía, Slim, por ejemplo, con todas sus empresas, no es muy fuerte. ¿Por qué? Porque no está invirtiendo suficientemente en desarrollo tecnológico en telefonía, por ejemplo. Él compra tecnología, pero no está invirtiendo, no lo hace un elemento de competencia a nivel internacional. Fíjense ustedes esos niveles. Entonces, ahí tiene que haber una participación del gobierno y eso exigir al próximo gobierno, yo creo que ya hace una política clara en ciencia y tecnología. Alguna vez en Inglaterra, hace años, yo recuerdo una frase muy interesante, esto en el 2005 que estaba yo por ahí, decía el gobierno inglés, estamos perdiendo competencia a nivel internacional en ciencia y tecnología. La India está invirtiendo más en educación en tal. Necesitamos aumentar. ¿Por qué? Porque eso lo dicen en los discursos, pero no en la práctica. Dar más dinero a la ciencia y la tecnología no es una cuestión de buena voluntad, sino es una cuestión de inversión, porque están invirtiendo en el trabajo, digo, en empleos. Todo lo que les decía, por ejemplo, en el caso de lo que vemos en el sector informal de la economía, es productivo, sí, pero eso no da impuestos suficientes y no crean trabajos. Eso se debe de adoptar por la economía formal y ser un detonante también de desarrollo, porque están creando también. Nada más una cuestión, la última. Yo en mis estudios he visto que en ciertos niveles todos los estados empiezan, inclusive por hacer piratería, pero después van elevando su nivel. Eso lo hacen los chinos, y la propiedad intelectual con los chinos va a ser importante porque están creando ya nueva tecnología para proteger sus productos. Bueno.
Yeah. So basically, the government in Mexico, they promised that at least 1% of the internal, GDP was going to be invested in science and the development of science and technology. And we do have one institute that is in charge of promoting science and technology, and we do have a fund specifically for that. However, in terms of numbers, it seems that they are not fulfilling the promise of investing at least the 1%. And he gave an example that also society has to be included into this, like private enterprises have to ask the government to invest and to help for the protection, because he was giving the example of Carlos Slim, who is one of the biggest enterprises in this country, and he has one of the biggest technological companies in Latin America and probably the world. And however, he is not communications and telephone. And however, he's not investing he's not investing money in developing technology. He's just buying it and distributing it. So it's not only a it's not only a job from the government, this is what I understood, but also from society and private enterprises to actually invest in technology, in the development of technology. He was saying it's not because investing in technology is not a matter of goodwill, but the problem is that people, not the government, neither the enterprises, are seeing it as an investment, and it should be seen as an investment. I forgot the last part, what you said about China.
I said that because all the countries in some time they do piracy, including, for example, Japan in the 19 cycle. For example, they did a lot of piracy. It was the same in Germany and China now. The question is that after doing this piracy, they start to building their new technology. And now intellectual property will be very important for China also, because they have created a new technology. This is the question. I'm not saying that Mexico should do piracy. No. Just this is the wave, the development.
Okay, any more questions?
I love a lot of these novels about the spies and so on. What do the spies? Piracy. Okay.
Anyone? Sí.
Hola, muy buenos días. Antes que nada, muchas gracias por el seminario que se nos dio la oportunidad de tomar. Yo tengo dos cuestiones. Si bien es cierto, tenemos identificado que la ley de propiedad industrial, caso México, nos define lo que viene siendo una innovación o una invención, ¿no? Lo cual es generar una transformación en la materia. ¿Estamos de acuerdo? Lo cual, obviamente, concreto con usted, nos genera un gasto económico, una merma intelectual, como sea, ¿no? Para generar alguna nueva innovación. Ahora bien, hace algunos días observaba un video de Kiyoshi Tsuru, el cual es el presidente del Comité de Propiedad Intelectual aquí en México, y hizo un hincapié muy importante que es acerca de la piratería. La piratería es un tema que estamos en día. Comparto la idea de tener una policía encargada en esta materia. Sin embargo, Kiyoshi hacía un punto muy importante. Tenemos una legislación de propiedad industrial intelectual desde hace 20 años, la cual nos ha venido rigiendo. Sabemos que el derecho es adaptativo, es universal, lo cual se va adaptando a las realidades de la sociedad y a las necesidades de las mismas, ¿no? Mi primera pregunta, ¿considera usted una reforma de ley, que una reforma en materia de propiedad industrial, la considera pertinente? Y la segunda, ¿cómo hacer que el Estado, se supone que la idea de este seminario es que el Estado apoye a las nuevas tecnologías de la propiedad industrial en base a programas sociales? Bueno, yo tengo ese entendido. ¿Cómo hacer que el Estado apoye el uso de las nuevas tecnologías a través de programas sociales? Ejemplo de ello, la llamada biotecnología.
No me acuerdo de su primera pregunta. ¿Me podrías repetir la primera pregunta, por favor?
Claro, ¿considera usted pertinente una reforma de ley a la propiedad industrial, a la ley de propiedad industrial? Y la segunda de ellas es cómo hacer que el Estado apoye al uso de las nuevas tecnologías.
Sí.
Gracias.
He was referring to a quotation from the president of the Committee of the Intellectual Property in Mexico, but given the time, I'm just going to refer to the questions. He's asking whether a reform of the current intellectual property law in Mexico is necessary, and whether we are going to be able to convince the government that they need to support the use, the investment in projects that will help the society in general, no?
Bueno, la primera cuestión, creo que la ley es importante, indudablemente, pero fíjense ustedes, en 20 años de la ley, lo único que se ha reformado en forma más importante fue hacer que la piratería se persiga de oficio, lo cual es penalizar. Eso no es suficiente reforma. Si usted me dijera así de bote pronto, yo le contestaría así de bote pronto, ¿qué se necesita en la ley? Yo creo que se necesita crear dentro de la ley de propiedad industrial un sistema de difusión de conocimiento. Porque por eso empecé mi conferencia diciendo el conocimiento es importante. Entonces, ¿saben lo que significa las patentes que están en el dominio público? Es conocimiento. Hace un año hicimos un evento aquí y un profesor brasileño nos decía que en su país alguien había inventado un paraguas, pero que la oficina de patentes hizo su trabajo, investigó que esa patente había sido o mejor dicho, ese paraguas había sido inventado en el siglo XIX en Holanda. ¿Qué significa eso? Que hay mucho conocimiento tecnológico que está en el dominio público. Se necesita hacer una difusión, diseminación, dicen, del conocimiento tecnológico. Entonces, allí podría ser una reforma en la ley. El sistema creado por los tratados de libre comercio es un sistema de administración de las invenciones, otorgar patentes y protegerlas. Pero no es eso. El profesor estaba preguntando, por ejemplo, del secreto industrial. Eso no le di respuesta. Es algo que no se conoce. La propiedad intelectual protege vía patentes, pero también mediante secreto industrial. Es una cuestión de estrategia. Entonces, estrategia que tienen las empresas y los sectores de producción del conocimiento. Ahí, para eso entonces se requiere lo que estamos haciendo, una educación en conocer cuáles son los límites de la propiedad intelectual, qué es lo que se puede hacer. Y la otra cuestión, ¿qué es lo que se puede hacer? Yo creo que también no hay que esperar tanto del gobierno, porque el gobierno, les digo, el próximo gobierno va a decir a lo mejor que va a invertir el 3% del Producto Nacional Bruto y al final de cuentas no, porque se fueron a las elecciones, no sé. Yo creo que también ahí las universidades hay que trabajar, hacer el trabajo y la iniciativa privada también impulsarla. La iniciativa privada debe de entender, si hablan tanto de globalización, en un mundo globalizado es necesario tener elementos de competencia.
Okay.
¿Cuáles son?
Well, so in refer to the first question, there is not necessary to actually reform the law. I mean, it is important that the only change in the last 20 years in the Mexican law was just the criminal side of it. That now, if a person is taking something without the authorization of the author, they can prosecute it without the author giving authorization for it. So that was the only change in terms of criminal law. So hence, what is not important is not important the law, but it would be better. I mean, the law is important, of course, but it would be better to create a system of knowledge distribution. He said that patents that are open to knowledge, they help to create new things. He was giving the example of Brazil. They created an umbrella after a patent that was originally created in Holland. So this distribution of the knowledge helps to create further things. Unfortunately, treaties so far have just created administration process of intellectual property, but not really, they haven't focused on the distribution of knowledge. And this is something that will have to be changed. Dissemination of knowledge. And the last question is, we shouldn't wait for the government to do to take action, because they will promise something and probably they will have other priorities on the way. So he said it's also a part of the society to encourage the innovation in social projects, and well, this is the work that we have as universities as well, to give back to society. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yo creo que ya está, ¿no?
Yeah, okay. So we run out of time, and we're going to continue with our first panel of the conference. Thank you very much, Dr. Becerra.
Thank you.